Hey everyone, me Kevin here. In this video, I'm going to break down the leftover stimulus money that you could still take advantage of while obviously we wait for the next rounds of stimulus. Fingers crossed, because I said I wouldn't shave until we get the next rounds of stimulus, and well, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about 10 forms of bonus stimulus that still exist that you could take advantage of to save money this year. Which, remember, if you want to learn how to grow your wealth, check out the amazing programs on real estate stocks and making money from home with YouTube videos down below, and use that coupon code, which I've got to change that. Anyway, first, the biggest form of stimulus available that applies to 66% of households, if you own real estate, is take mortgage forbearance. Seriously, the fact that you could take money that you owe this year and invest it while you don't have to pay it back for 20, 25, 30 years is free money. Mortgage forbearance lets you stop making payments for up to 12 months, and all you have to do is say that you're having a hardship. You do not have to provide paperwork, you don't have to sign an agreement, you don't have to do anything. As long as you have a federally backed loan, which means that you bought with a conventional loan, FHA loan, or VA loan, you have the right to up to 12 months in forbearance. Now, you do have to pay this money back at some point. VA actually has the worst options, which isn't really fair because those are our veterans, but for FHA and conventional, basically you can take whatever amount you owe during that forbearance period. If you take 12 months of forbearance, just add it to the back of your loan. Conventional, they usually add it to the back. For FHA, they usually just add a second loan. VA, a little bit more tricky. Just a fair warning though, Callan, a viewer of this channel, recently left a really good comment on my complete breakdown of mortgage forbearance video, where I tell you what your rights are and what you should really say when you call into these companies, so that way you call in prepared, which you can see that video, I'll link it down below, or go to metkevin.com/forbearance. But anyway, he called in and said that he was told up front that his only option was 90 days of forbearance and that he'd have to pay the money back after 90 days or do a loan modification. This is a scam. Both of those are a scam. And Callan said that he demanded speaking with the loss mitigation team because he knew what his rights were. He mentioned that he had watched my prior videos on mortgage forbearance. He didn't tell them that. He told us that in the comments. And he knew what the CARES Act law said because I've broken this down in the prior videos and I tell you exactly what the law is. So I'm giving you a summary here because we've got 9 more free leftover stimulus programs to take money from, right? But to wrap this one up, it took Callan forcing his way to talk to the loss mitigation team, waiting for them to call him back, only for them to tell him that he's right and he's eligible for 180 days of forbearance plus the option to renew for another 180 days thereafter. And then of course you have whatever rights, whether you have an FHA, conventional, or VA loan for repayment, which in many cases is adding it to the back of the loan, which is great. As Callan said though, sound confident, know what the law is, and watch my complete breakdown by going to metkevin.com/forbearance. I will link that down below, and you could also read Callan's comment. Seriously, these banks will try to scam you if you're not careful. They'll make you sign stupid forbearance agreements and provide things that you don't have to, so be careful. And remember, you can take forbearance up to 1 year after the pandemic ends, so you've still got plenty of time to do this. The second form of stimulus right now is realistically taking a refinance. So if you didn't take mortgage forbearance, consider refinancing your real estate if you own real estate. The other options are going to be not about real estate. But quickly to mention, interest rates right now fell to a new low of under 3% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, and these are insanely cheap rates. Just a heads up, refinances are very slow right now because there is so much demand for refinances. So expect to wait to get your refinance done. It could take as long as 2 to 3 months. And remember, if you took mortgage forbearance, you need to have made your payments again for at least 3 months in order to be able to qualify for a refinance. So if you do refinance, after you do forbearance, you will have to pay off that forbearance money that you kind of put aside. So there is a downside of refinancing after doing forbearance. On the other hand, if you refinance, it's also very difficult to do forbearance after refinancing because if you get a new loan nowadays, they make you sign away your rights to take mortgage forbearance. Option number 3, this is for renters, and this is the rent protection one. Technically, there is no $0 rent right now, but you can't be evicted for not paying rent as long as you're following the CDC's eviction protection rules, and as a single person, you make less than $99,000 per year, or as a dual filer, you make less than $198,000 per year. Attached or in the link down below is actually a form that you could sign to certify for eviction protections. This is directly from the CDC. If you are under eviction protections, I do though also encourage you to negotiate some form of payment with your landlord. The easiest way to do this is to negotiate something permanent. That means you'll stay in that property longer, but you're going to map out your next 3 years worth of payments. Keep in mind, the eviction protections only last for 3 months, so you don't want to think about the short term here. You want to play the long game. So here's an example. Let's say you pay $1,200 in rent. Consider asking your landlord this. Would it be possible to pay $700 through the end of the year? I'm under eviction protections anyway. And then in 2021, as I get back to work, could I pay $1,000, which is a $200 rent discount, and then in 2022, could we bump my rent to $1,250? Make an offer. Make whatever offer you want. At least try to start negotiating. Or you could always just stop making your payments. That's your leverage, right? Because you have eviction protections. Now, at some point, you'll have to pay that back. But if you can agree to some kind of deal that gets you lower rent for the next couple years, and then you barely catch up in the year thereafter, why not? Means you don't have to worry about moving. You're not worried about an eviction, moving expenses. There are a lot of headaches that come with an eviction. It hurts your record as well. By doing this example here that I just showed, you end up saving $500 a month in 2020, which is another $1,500. You end up saving $2,400 in 2021, and you end up only paying an extra $600 in 2022, which realistically they would have probably bumped your rent anyway. So it's not even. It's like you're scheduling your own rent increase, and you're doing a modest one at that. So obviously, play with the numbers here and expect to negotiate. But by extending your lease, you're actually giving your landlord something of confidence that, hey, well, you've been a good tenant, you've fallen under hard times, I'd love to keep you, love to have you catch up at some point in the future. But, the last thing the landlord wants is you to stop paying completely, have to evict you, and then have to find a new tenant. Things to consider. Bonus one here. And then we'll get into number 4. A bonus opportunity to get some free money is if you sign up for Webull via the link down below, you deposit $100, they will give you one stock worth up to $1,600. At minimum, it's worth $8 at minimum, so it's a random draw. That means you instantly get an 8% return on your money if you deposit $100 with Webull. Use that link down below, though, to make sure you get that up to $1,600 bonus. Number 4. On August 31st, there was an executive order for free food for anyone 18 and under. So if you have a child who is 18 or younger, or you are 18 or younger, make sure you take advantage of the Summer Food Service Program. Remember, this was signed into law on August 31st, and they extended this program through December 31st. This means that you can get free food, which is basically like getting free money in your pocket, and there's no reason to be embarrassed about this. Text, quote, summer meals to 97779 or call 1-866-348-6479. I will also link the map, the texting information, and the call information down below so you can take advantage of that in the description. Number 5. If you have not yet taken advantage of the SNAP program, that's the new name for the food stamp program, yes, do it. You got nothing to lose. Almost 40 million Americans qualify for this. A family of 4 does have an income ceiling of about $2,790. Family of 1 does have an income ceiling, gross income per month, of $1,354. But if you have an income of under those limits, what's the harm in getting more free stimulus money? Take advantage of it. Don't be embarrassed by it. Currently, if you are a 1-person household, you'd get about $194 per month. If you're a 4-person household, you'd get about $646 per month. Take advantage of it. Call 211 or call 1-800-221-5686. Number 6, the payroll tax deferral. So if you are self-employed or your boss will let you and you make less than $100,000 per year, you should consider stopping paying your 6.2% in Social Security payroll taxes. I personally recommend taking those savings and putting them into a savings account until this officially gets forgiven, because it's possible you might have to repay that money back next year. So it doesn't become a free sort of stimulus check until they forgive it. But here's the problem. If you don't take the deferral and Congress ends up forgiving this money, you'll have lost the benefit completely by not taking it. So you're better off taking the benefit, putting the money aside, and then pay it back if you need to, or take the money if it ends up getting deferred or forgiven. Now, some employers have suggested that they would set up a trust account for this purpose. Some employers are saying that's too complicated, let's just give it to you, and if you get the money, hey, my recommendation is just put it aside because you might have to pay it back. But again, it's use it or lose it. So if they forgive it in 2 months and you didn't take it, you lost all that potential. Number 7. This is taking out up to $100,000 out of your 401k penalty and interest free as long as you repay it within 3 years. Maybe this will help you cover some short-term challenges, or heck, maybe you even want to make a short-term investment, over the next 3 years. Maybe you think now's the time to buy a house or whatever. So even if you only have $5, $10, $20, $30,000 in your IRA, know that you could take this money out penalty-free. Talk to your CPA for specifics on how you have to pay this back and the timeframes for this, but the CARES Act did allow a provision for withdrawing money penalty-free from your 401k plan. So this is sometimes an option, especially if you're struggling at the moment. If you have a federal student loan, you probably already know that right now you can take forbearance or deferment until the end of the year, so there's no real surprise here. So that brings up number 8. If you have credit cards or car payments, do the same thing we talked about with the housing forbearance. Ask, call the company, be nice, and see what options they have for you to put your credit cards and your car payments into forbearance. As long as they don't, and you have to check this because this isn't as clear as the housing forbearance. But if you get a credit card or car company that says, hey, we'll let you go into forbearance for 6 months, no interest will accrue, we'll just pause it, and you won't pay any penalties, and you have to check because some will charge you interest. As long as nothing accrues, hey, take it. And then over the next 6 months, see what you could do to save up money and pay that debt off. Like, use these forbearance windows to just get your finances in order. Think about it like the 2020 Great Reset, because this year has been crazy enough. Number 9, if you donated this year, make sure you documented that you donated. You can now write off up to $300 in donations from your 2020 taxes, which is actually an increase in what you're usually able to deduct if you take the standard deduction, which most of us watching this take the standard deduction. If you own real estate, you probably itemize your taxes though. So keep that in mind. But the $300, that's nice. If you donated during this year, make sure you have documentation of that and give that to your CPA when you file your taxes. You get a small little bonus, write-off there. It's nice. Number 10, if you're self-employed or you're employed and your income has been cut dramatically, consider applying for unemployment. You don't have to be fully unemployed. If you went from I was working 40 hours a week to working 10 hours a week, consider applying for unemployment. Go to your state's unemployment website and see if you can apply. When in doubt, apply and see what their rules are. Usually I just recommend put the application in and see what happens. But if you qualify, you could end up getting retroactive payments for weeks that you were partially or completely unemployed. And that's even if you're self-employed, Uber driver, Lyft, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you are unemployed, apply. So when in doubt, I highly, highly recommend you apply. So there you have a roundup of 10 ways that you can get free stimulus. If you want to grow your wealth, check out those amazing programs down below where I can teach you everything that I know about building wealth in real estate, stocks, money management, and making YouTube videos from home so that you as well can make money and have an awesome side hustle. Thank you so much for watching this video. Get your free stock with Webull. Get your life insurance in as little as 5 minutes. Links below. And folks, we'll see you in the next one.